It was fall 2015 and I had just finished my coding bootcamp in Germany. Now I had very little to none work experience and I wanted to start creating projects on the side to create websites for small businesses or other projects to grow my portfolio and hopefully, not hopefully, but really praying that I would get hired as a developer. Now the challenge that I faced is how do I legally start a business, a side business in Germany while still being employed? Now I had no idea where to start and luckily Yvonne was there to guide me through the process and it turns out we were able to do this in 4 steps, which we will go into detail in this video. So if you're interested in starting a side hustle in Germany, then stick around. Step number 1 is to check if your residence permit actually allows you to work as self-employed.
Correct, yes. And so either your residence permit, the card, or the Zusatzblatt, like the actual little leaflet that you have, sometimes state or have the sentence in it, selbstständige Tätigkeit nicht gestattet, which pretty much means you're not allowed to work as a self-employed. Sometimes it says it is gestattet if you applied for a self-employed visa, or sometimes it just doesn't specify the self-employment. However, if it particularly says that you're not allowed to work as a self-employed, you're not allowed, like you're legally not allowed. This was the case for Jen. So what we did as a first thing is to talk to the Ausländerbehörde and to inquire what we need to do in order for Jen to be allowed to work self-employed as a side hustle. And they advised us that we can apply for an extension of the residence permit without filling out any particular form. The German word is formlos. So pretty much just by sending in documents that prove her case to be allowed to work as a self-employed.
I would say in Germany, that's a magic word. Formlos, the fact that you don't need a form, it's like, whoa.
Meaning there is no specified process. It's an individual case.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it means. In order to do this, we needed 3 things. Number 1 was the coding certificate of the bootcamp Jen did to prove her new skills. Number 2 was a motivation letter testifying that the new skills, if she would be allowed to use them, will have a positive impact on the German economy and that there's work prospect. I mean, developing skills are in need in Germany, so that was kind of easy to state. And number 3, very important, was the permission from her employer, that was the ground for her visa, for her work permit, that the employer is okay with her working on the site. And in her case, it also stated the amount of hours that she was allowed to work per month or per week. So that was super important. Without that, I don't think she would have gotten the permission.
Here, I would like to point out as a side note and kind of like attention to this point, and it's to check your work contract first and see what it says there regarding side hustles or working on different projects. Some might not say anything and it's okay if you just ask. Some might actually say specifically that you need to ask for permission and that can
in
either
writing.
be in writing and that can either be a yes or no. So they can actually tell you no, you're not allowed, and then you're not allowed.
So we sent all those documents to the Ausländerbehörde and to our surprise and luckily the permission came through without any other questions, and Jen got a new Zusatzblatt that stated the exact requirements. She was allowed to work self-employed for the specified hours that her employer allowed.
Once you have the permission, there are still 3 more steps you need to do, so don't think that now you can just start taking work. Step number 2 is to understand if you're going to be working as a freelancer or as a sole trade proprietor.
That is correct. And there is a big distinguishment in Germany, which is very important to understand and choose the right one, because otherwise you might face tax consequences in the long run, which no good.
No bueno.
So, to make this very clear, freelancer in Germany is Freiberufler. And typically you can work as a Freiberufler if you are providing a service in the so-called liberal professions. Freie Berufe.
Okay, and then what are considered liberal professions?
So as a general guideline, usually Freiberufler are artists, scientists, doctors, tax advisors, consultants,
software developers,
engineers, teachers, so anyone providing a service in a kind of like free profession, pretty much.
Also designers, lawyers.
Designers, lawyers, anything in that scope. However, the scope changes on a yearly basis. The scope is very tedious, and this is really just a general picture. And at the end of the day, the Finanzamt, the financial offices, the tax authorities, kind of like dictate to you what they consider your profession or your work to be. It's super important that you don't just think this is what I am, but that if you're in doubt, that you should consult a tax consultant who advises you professionally. We have a detailed guide on freelancing in Germany on our website, which we will link in the description box below. Now, if you did not identify yourself in any of those professions just mentioned, you will automatically be a Gewerbetreibender, which is the sole proprietor as a tradesperson. And usually it's referred to as Gewerbe. The importance in differentiation is that the Gewerbe you need to register with the trade authorities. A freelancer does not need to register their business per se.
Okay, hold on. So then if I am a freelancer, then I don't need to do anything in this step?
In this step, not. Well, you need to identify that you're a freelancer, yeah?
To whom?
For yourself.
Ah, for yourself, okay. But then if I am a Gewerbe, then I do need to proceed to fill out this form with the Finanzamt?
That's correct. There is, no, not the Finanzamt. There is the form called Gewerbeanmeldung.
The registration.
Is the registration of your trade business, pretty much. And that is usually with the Gewerbeamt. Yes, there's its own institution.
Amt, of course.
Often it's also with the Ordnungsamt. For example, in Düsseldorf, it's run by the Ordnungsamt. But you can literally just Google Gewerbeanmeldung and your city, and you will get the form. It's a 2-page form. It's relatively simple, however, it's in purely German. And to register your Gewerbe usually costs between 10 and 40 euro, depending on where you live. Now, on this form, you have several boxes to tick. And if you are applying to register your Gewerbe as a side hustle, you should apply as a Nebengewerbe, which specifically states that this is not your main income, which is kind of important if you don't have the permission to have a main income from self-employment.
Now to the golden question. What if I want to start a side business and it has to do more in the lines of a YouTube channel or an Etsy shop or a Shopify drop shipping? What do I do in that case then?
Now, before I answer, again, I'm not a tax consultant and I'm legally not allowed to advise or to say anything. So this is just based on my research. Most often or not, what you just described would qualify as a Gewerbe and not as a freelancer, because you're not giving a service. You're selling goods. For my research, the moment you have a YouTube channel that is purely journalistic, could possibly be as a freelancer. But the moment, let's say, you have sponsorships or you're selling something, it is most often not a Gewerbe.
Or get money from Google Ads.
Or get money from Google Ads. So in this case, again, consult a tax consultant for the professional opinion. And the most important thing is you only need to register anything the moment you start making money. So you can, of course, start a YouTube channel. You can, of course, start a blog or do whatsoever as a start, because, I mean, first you need to gain traction a little bit without worrying about any of this. But the moment you decide, or the moment you have the opportunity to start making money, that's when you need to register.
Yeah, but I would say in the case of an Etsy shop or Shopify dropshipping, you expect to make money from the start, so you should register before you open those shops.
Now, as an extra note and super important, there are special industries in Germany, such as the gastronomy, taxi companies, skilled crafts businesses, insurance brokers, doctors. Those need an additional special license. Again, if that is something that you identify yourself with, please do extra research, because without that license, you are not even allowed to perform that profession in Germany.
Step number 3 is the most fun step of them all, and that's to register with the tax office in Germany.
And this one applies to anyone, regardless of freelancer or Gewerbetreibender. That is just a thing to do.
Yes. So the tax office is actually, this time, if I say it correctly, is the Finanzamt.
Correct.
And there you will need to fill out a form, which is how long?
7 pages, and believe me, it is complicated. Like, I struggled to fill it out, and I mean, I'm doing a lot of research for this topic, for us, for you, and I'm German, and it's not that clear.
But don't worry, we're not going to leave you hanging just like, oh, it's complicated, figure it out on your own. There are 2 companies that we're going to mention at the end of the video, where we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about them, who can help you with these very complicated things.
Correct, yeah. But to go back to the point, so
yes.
The questionnaire that you need to fill out is a tax questionnaire, and the right German, it's not a word, phrase for it is Fragebogen zur steuerlichen Erfassung. Did I say that correct? Yes, I did. Once you hand that in, the Finanzamt will get back to you and actually provide you with your business tax ID, because yes, it's going to be a different tax ID than your personal one. And if you've ticked the box, also your VAT number, which is important to write invoices.
If you're liking this video, make sure to hit that like button. Now, if you have seen our videos for more than 2 times and you haven't subscribed yet, then please consider hitting that subscribe button.
And if you'd like to go the extra mile and support our channel with a donation, you can do so at simplegermany.com/coffee with a virtual coffee. Thank you for your support.
Now, step number 4, it is not a mandatory one, but it's definitely a very nice one to have, and that is to open your business bank account.
Correct. Yes, you will do yourself a favor when you start from day one to separate your business, even if it's a side business, your business finances with your private finances.
Yes.
Reason being is that the German authorities are very tedious, and you are obliged, most likely, automatically, to file a tax declaration, which we've done a video about, at the end of the year, the moment you have other income sources. And to do that, you need to have clean books. Accounting and bookkeeping become part of your routine as a business owner. And it's easier if it's separate, because typically each transaction that you have in your bank account, you need a receipt for it. And try to go through your private bank account where there's every, let's say, well, so often a business transaction. How do you separate that? How do you remember what was what, where it came from?
Oh, wow.
It becomes complicated. Plus, even more important, a lot of private bank accounts, like the banks behind the private bank accounts, have in their terms and conditions that you're only allowed to use this account for private purpose. The moment you start using it for business and the bank recognizes it, they can suspend your account. You don't want that.
You don't want that.
So open a business bank account. We have a whole guide on simplegermany.com that we will link in the description below, that where we do a roundup review of different bank accounts for freelance and self-employed purposes.
It may sound like, whoa, that's a lot of things to do, but don't be discouraged. It is totally possible. You just need to take one step at a time. And as promised, we will mention now the 2 companies that can help you out in this process. The first company we want to talk about is Sorted.
Right, and Sorted focuses more on freelancers. So if you identify as a freelancer, then please check their website out, and they actually help you for free to fill out that 7-page tax form. So that is amazing. You can also use them for accounting purposes and invoicing later, but just have a look. It's all in English and very user-friendly.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very nice website. Number 2 is firma.de.
And firma.de is more for the Gewerbe purpose. They have a full service package to open your Sole-proprietorship, your Gewerbe, but they also have a detailed guide on how to fill out the Gewerbeanmeldung. Even if you're interested in more complex companies, they are the right people to go to.
Yes, we will link both companies in the description box below. And if you decide to book any of their services, we would get a commission for that, and that is at no additional cost to you. You might think the video is done, but there's one more thing we would like to talk about, and that is the business tax in Germany. We're not going to go into very detailed information here, but just to give you, like the title says, an overview, so I have an idea of the different taxes that you will be dealing with when you start a business.
Yes, there are 3 taxes you should be aware of. They all take place at different times of growth of your business, but it's important you know about them from the start.
Yes.
The first tax is the income tax, the Einkommenssteuer, which you're already handling as an employee. So there's actually no real difference other than that whatever profit you're making on your side hustle will be added to your employed salary, and altogether it will be taxed. Again, you will most likely for this have to do a tax declaration at the end of the year, or pretty much the beginning of the next year. How about that?
Again, we have a whole video talking about the tax declaration in Germany, but most importantly, we also have detailed guides that give you more information about this. We will link both of the things in the description box below.
The second tax we would like to talk about is the trade tax, the Gewerbesteuer. Important to know that freelancers are exempt from this tax. So if you're planning to be a freelancer, skip this part. But for Gewerbe, for any sole proprietorship, this is important to know about. The first 24,500 euros per year of profit are free of trade tax. However, the moment you surpass that, you are obliged to pay trade tax. The calculation of the trade tax is rather complicated and way out of scope of this video. However, in our guide on how to start a business in Germany that we will link below, we have an example calculation and an explanation how it is calculated so you get a better understanding of it.
Did you know we have templates on our website that can help you settle into life in Germany
more smoothly? You can check them out at simplegermany.com/templates.
Now, continuing with the video. Now, the third tax is probably my favorite, and that is the VAT tax, which is a European tax. And it's called I need to read it, sorry. It's called the Umsatzsteuer. Now, whether you need to charge VAT or not highly depends on the estimated revenue of your business for the first 2 years and if you operate within Europe.
Now, if you estimate that your revenue in the first year will be below 22,000 and not more than 50,000 euros in the second year, you do not charge or pay VAT tax. However, the moment you surpass those limits, you will be obliged to do so. While you're below this limit, you will be referred to as a Kleingewerbe or Kleinunternehmer, which is important to state so other companies know that you are VAT exempt. The best way to get your VAT number is to tick the box already in your application form or in your registration with the tax authorities. Just because you have a number usually does not mean that you need to use it or charge straight away. What is the best case scenario for you? Only a tax advisor can tell you. Because the moment you charge from the beginning, you are obliged to charge it for at least 5 years.
Wow. Yeah. Again, if you're confused about all this, firma.de, the company that focuses on Gewerbe, can help you out. One important thing to point out is that the VAT is both for freelancers and Gewerbe. So don't think because you're a freelancer, you don't need to worry about it.
No, it's solely based on your revenue.
Again, if you're a freelancer, you can check the services of Sorted. And if you are Gewerbe or want to be a Gewerbe, you can check out the services of firma.de. They both provide great services and allow you to connect with English-speaking tax advisors, which you can get in touch and ask all these questions. If you dream of having a side hustle or a business down the line in Germany, don't let bureaucracy stop you. We hope with these steps you're able to navigate the bureaucracy world in Germany. And again, we leave all the links in the description box below of the companies that we mentioned, as well as the guides on our website, simplegermany.com, which might help you even further. Until next time,
Tschüss!
Why are you looking at my lips?
Because you're speaking.
Okay. Check whether your residence permit allows you to work as a self-employed. Don't let bureaucracy stop you from citing. So once you're done with it, then you can enjoy all the benefits of being a business owner.